Be careful. Batteries explode. If you smell acid, shut everything down. If you go down, touch the batteries. If they're hot, get out of the bilge, shut everything down, and then go from there. Batteries explode. Guy almost killed himself.
You know, we were having such a good time until Captain Happy had to come up with the exploding batteries. Ahoy! This is your captain speaking, Greg Michael of Pinnacle Marine Group, Marine Surveyors, and welcome aboard the Nauti Buoys Boat Show. I'm joined by Captain Happy, Glenn Shadbolt, Marine Mechanic and Shipwright, and aboard this vessel, we talk everything about boats, the build, the mechanics, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We go where the seas take us. The topics will be endless. Electronics, marinas, restaurants, vacations, cruising and fishing. Our show includes live callers with real questions. Let's fare these waters together. Call 772-773-2600 every Tuesday between 5 and 5:30 p.m. Eastern. If you're a guest or a caller, you certainly are naughty. We have a great guest today. So, Sal Salvia of the Sailing Channel, he's here with us today. We're going to talk everything sailing. We're going to talk about his channel, and we're going to get into the history of it. So, before we start, Glenn.
Yes.
Before we start, I always like to tell a little joke.
Okay.
You want a joke?
I want a joke.
You want a joke. Okay. All right, so here's my joke. A sailor who's been out at sea for about 2 months stops at a brothel. He walks straight up to the madam, drops down $500 and says, "I want your ugliest woman and a grilled cheese sandwich." The madam is astonished. "But sir, for that kind of money, you could have one of my prettiest ladies and a 3-course meal." The sailor replies, "Listen, I'm not horny. I'm just homesick."
Oh, man.
I liked it.
At least he's true to his bride. We'll give him that much. Halfway, anyway.
I didn't write it, so but I liked it. Okay, so once again, we're fortunate to have Sal from the Sailing Channel. Sal, say hi to the people out there.
Hey, hi there, ahoy, from the sailingchannel.tv.
Yeah, there you go. First of all, give me the big intro. So, how did they find you? How did they find the Sailing Channel? Give us what mediums you're on. Give me phone numbers. Give me everything.
Sure. Well, the Sailing Channel TV is basically a web channel. Mm-hmm. It's a website. And we have a sister site called sailflix.com. And the differences is that the sailingchannel.tv has all our documentaries and how to sailing videos. And you can screen a lot of free stuff. You can screen trailers, or you can purchase your own downloads or rentals. If you go to sailflix.com, we got the entire library up there, but just think Netflix, only it's Sailflix. Right. So for a very small fee each month, you can, just fill your scuppers with sailing stuff all day long.
Wow, that's pretty ingenious, just like Netflix. That's great. And you really got off on the word scupper, didn't you?
Well, I'm not much of a sailor. I'm a big power boater.
So you like scuppers?
Well, scuppers, that you could really...
Anything with a hole.
Oh, that's not true. That's not true. There's some pretty ugly holes out there. So.
Okay, and also, as you already know, if you've been listening to the podcast, here at Nauti Buoys, we have live call-in. So the callers, let me just give you the number again. We'll do a question and answers. You can call for any one of us. And the number is 772-773-2600. So let's talk sailing. How'd you come up with the idea? How'd you start the channel? And when?
Well, let's go back in history to 2006.
Wow.
And I don't think we know how far we've all come since then. Back then, video on the internet was fairly new, but people could start watching it. At the same time, video production equipment got really, really cheap to do fairly decent quality video. Mm-hmm. Micro SD cards are coming out, and it was where you had to spend $60,000 on a camera. You could get a camera for $4,000. They gave you almost broadcast quality.
Like a GoPro now.
Yeah, exactly. So it was amazing. So that's when I decided to jump into the sailing business in terms of doing videos. I've been doing business-to-business videos all my career, training videos, marketing videos, all of that stuff. But I've been sailing since the early 70s, and I really loved it. And I was in Annapolis, Maryland, the sailing capital of the world. And every year we have a sailboat show that brings people from all over the world. Maybe 50, 60,000 people come through, and all the vendors, all the big yacht manufacturers, and all the big equipment people. So I said, what if we just go and do some guerrilla television? We'll show up, camera, sound guy, and go into the booths and see the people that are running the gear and say, hey guys, let's do an interview. And so that's what we did. We surprised people. And so this was sailor to sailor interviews because we knew sailing, and so we knew what to ask. And we got a pretty good response. But again, this is the early video really on the internet. And people were still saying, well, you know, if taking out an ad in Sail Magazine was good enough for my grandfather, well, it's good enough for me. So everybody thought the internet was going to be just some sort of flash in the pan and go away. So we were on, as we call, the bleeding edge. So we did that for a few years, and then we decided we better start making our own videos, and which we started doing, and then we decided we better start distributing other people's videos. So we made a lot of connections with top-notch sailors like Lynn and Larry Pardee, and Gary Jobson, and Don Street, and Jack Klang, and Jean Rousselier, people that have been around for a long time, had a great reputation, and had produced some wonderful videos. So we made distribution deals with them, and that gave us a base for our library, and then over the years we just kept adding to it.
Wow.
Where are you originally from?
From the great sailing state of Rhode Island.
I've always been a power boater. You know, is it true that sailing is the most expensive way to get from here to there for free?
Well, some people say that. It's also probably the most expensive stair stepper you'll ever buy.
Yeah. It's a lot of exercise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've taken sailing lessons, and it's tough. I mean, it's not an easy thing. So, but I appreciate it. I appreciate everything about sailing. I survey them.
Right.
They're works of art. I mean, these sailboats, some of them are just works of art. So, I definitely get it. So, as a boy, right? So, when did you get interested in sailing?
Well, I've always been interested. My grandfather went to sea at 10 on tall ships as a cabin boy, and worked his way up to become a navigator. He immigrated to the United States through Ellis Island in 1899.
Wow.
And, you know, from my parents, from my dad especially, on my dad's side, he was on my dad's side, I would hear all these great sailing stories. And when I made my first communion, his sailing buddy was still alive. He had passed away, my granddad. But he gave me a ship's model of my granddad's last schooner, which is, you know, a fantastic deal to have. Mm-hmm. And so I've always wanted to go sailing, but, you know, we weren't wealthy. We lived in a factory town and all that stuff. We had a pond it was this little town called Hopedale, because we had moved to Massachusetts, and always wanted to get a little sailboat and go out in the pond, and Dad never wanted me to do it. And so anyways, to make a long story short, the first time I went sailing was on the Charles River in Boston, Massachusetts. I was going to Boston University, and my roommate was from Connecticut, and he was a real sailor. You know, I mean, he sailed in Connecticut as a kid and as a teenager. So one day he said, come on, I'll take you out. We'll go on one of these 12-foot little sailing dinghies out of the BU sailing platform there right on the Charles. Yeah. And I said, okay, sure, I'd love to do it. He was blowing 25 knots.
Ooh. Oh.
So he put me aboard this boat and put me forward, and the boat had a little jib, and we went out there, and I had the shit scared out of me. I said, are you kidding me? Let's go back to the dock. But it did wet my whistle, and I kept looking at sailboats and all of that, and then finally I got stationed at Fort Meade, Maryland, when I was in the Army, and all of a sudden there was the Chesapeake Bay, and people that were sailing, and I made some friends, and they took me out sailing, and the rest of the story is history.
Good. So thanks for your service, by the way.
You're welcome.
And what accomplishments, if any, do you have in sailing? I mean, have you raced? Did you do anything like that?
I did a little bit of racing when I was younger,
Right.
but I really liked the cruising idea. Be able to get on a boat, be self-contained, and just go somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, for most of my life, I was a Chesapeake Bay sailor.
Right.
However, I do have one offshore sailing adventure. Had a friend that was tasked with bringing a race boat back from Bermuda.
Oh.
So I went with the crew. They had done this boat before, so that made me feel good.
You did hear of the Bermuda Triangle?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we saw a lot of interesting things out there. So anyways, they flew us to Bermuda.
Yeah.
Gave us a lot of booze and good dinners for 2 nights, and then sent us on this sailboat, and off we went. And I had
still
never
know him? I'm game. I've never been sailing, but I'm going.
Yeah, so you go out of Bermuda, and all of a sudden you are in the Atlantic. I had never been in the Atlantic.
Right.
I had only been in the Bay.
Yeah.
And there's this thing called the Atlantic Swell, and I never got seasick, but I did then. Boom. But I fought against it, and I remember when we finally cleared the reefs of Bermuda, that we had to go up and change sails, and I just said, I'm going forward with the guy. You know, it was only a 33-foot boat. It's not a big, huge boat. It was an older boat. And but anyways, it was 7 days from Bermuda to Annapolis. We sailed all the way. We motored just a little bit, had a wonderful time. It was just an absolutely incredible experience.
Nice. So, I think we all have those stories being out on the Atlantic. And, I always say this. There's no such thing as a big boat, right? Mother Nature wins 100% of the time.
Hear, hear.
So, right. So you better be smart, and to all the boaters out there, pick your days.
Weather window.
Right. Weather window. And have a plan B. If you're going somewhere and the weather doesn't cooperate, go the other way.
Don't sail to a schedule.
Right. Exactly. So that's what boating's all about, making good memories, not scary memories. So
got it.
When I was a kid, I remember getting on the boat with my dad, and I can tell you, I've had some memories where I don't ever want to go through that
I don't
again.
want to touch that.
Yeah.
So you got to pick your days.
Yeah.
I just
think
have to go with that.
My worst experience was on the Chesapeake once, because we had gone off, a friend of mine, for a nice weekend from Annapolis to St. Michael's, which is across the Chesapeake and up Eastern Bay, and it was beautiful. And then we had to come back, and it was blowing pretty hard on Eastern, but we had a nice sail. Nice. And I'm on my boat. It's 36-foot Mariner, built in New Hampshire. It's a blue water boat. Yep. It's very stable. But we got out to the bay, and it was, now we're talking 40 knots. Wow. And 5-foot seas. Yeah. And I said to my friend, I think maybe we may want to tuck this one in for the night. He said, no, I got a meeting I got to get to. So I did the stupid thing. I gave in, and we went. And I'm telling you, it was a bash. Right. All the way across the bay, it was a bash. I will never do that again. Don't sail to a schedule. Somebody has a meeting, tough. Right. Sail safe and enjoy it.
Yeah, I always wondered why they called those lines sheets. Sheets? It was sheets? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, okay, great. Talk to us about your channel now. Sponsorship, social media. Do you sign up sponsors? Do you have sponsors? How does it work with social media? What do you do?
Well, we thought about sponsors, but we have to find a way to differentiate ourselves from all the free stuff out there. There's a lot of free stuff, and a lot of it's good, but I'd say the majority of it isn't. And isn't not meaning not good quality. Anybody now can take a cell phone and shoot HD. But it's the message that you give. It's whether you have the experience and you're passing on information that's right and proper and won't get people in trouble. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, just decided that we wanted to differentiate ourselves. So no ads, no sponsors. You just watch the video.
Good. I like that.
Yeah. How do you market the channel?
Social media mostly. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, just about every social platform. And we put up our trailers. We have tons of free trailers and free segments. And also we just try to put up stuff about sailing, our own experiences. If I'm doing a project on a boat, I'll do a little video about it and talk about it. And we find that that'll bring people to the channel. And if they want to watch our how-to section, go at it. We've got tons of how-to videos.
You have a lot of followers, subscribers, things like that?
Yeah, I would say throughout all of our social media and everything, we probably have 30 to 35,000 followers.
Wow, that's
Wow,
very
that's a
respectable.
lot.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good. And who would you say your target audience is?
Well, I would say really anybody that loves sailing. And our target audience can include armchair sailors. I mean, it's kind of like armchair golfers. There are people that don't play golf, but they'll tune in every Sunday to watch the Masters.
Yeah, right.
Well, there are armchair sailors out there that they know they'll get, but they would like to see a good sailing adventure of people that went there and what they learned and how they got there and all of that. So that's part of our audience. But also brand new people that are just learning how to sail. We've got a lot of how to sail videos. And people that are planning to go somewhere, we've got a lot of we call destination adventure videos. So they can see where they may want to go and how other people got there and what their experiences were like.
Right. And again, the sailingchannel.tv.
.tv.
Best way to get it. Okay. So for the new listeners, how do they subscribe? How does this work for them?
Sure. Well, on our flagship site, the sailingchannel.tv, you don't have to subscribe or log on. You can create an account so that if you purchase some shows or you purchase some rentals, it'll always be there for you. But we also have we're a system with Vimeo.com. We're using the Vimeo engines for putting out video players and having a video cloud. So you can purchase any of our documentaries or how-to videos through our Vimeo engine. And there you need to have a Vimeo account, but it's free. But once you do that, all that stuff that you buy or rent sits up on the cloud and it's available to you anytime, anywhere there is a video app. It could be on a big screen television, it could be on your smartphone. And then if you were to lose a video, just go up to your video account and on Vimeo, download a fresh copy.
Nice.
Now, the other way you can do it is through our Sailflix platform. And we encourage people to do that because for, under $8 a month, you can watch over 300 videos.
Wow. So
it's a no-brainer. You can get a yearly subscription, which is a little less expensive, but it's like $5.95 a month if you do it for a year. And of course, you can cancel anytime you want to cancel. But it gives you a way to watch series, because we have series by people like Don Street, who's a very famous sailor. Don Street just passed away at 93. He opened up the Caribbean to modern cruisers way back in the early 60s. He actually created charts. And the only charts back then were the British Admiralty charts. So he created new charts, the Amray charts, which are still being used. Great character, sailed on a 1909 engineless yawl. And the reason it was engineless because the engine died soon after he got it, and he didn't want to deal with it anymore, so he tossed it overboard.
No, it's a blackfish. Right?
The wind is free, so everything else should be. So we're not spending any money.
Right. So, yeah, we have Lynn and Larry Pardee. We've got Gary Jobson. We've got all these very well-known people. And you can take their advice to the bank. Right. They're not going to give you bad advice. And they also tell you that, hey, we learned it from somebody else. Yeah. Other sailors over the generations have passed this knowledge down, and we want to pass it down to you.
Yeah. So I had a elementary school teacher. You remember Connor? Won the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So his wife was my elementary school teacher.
My goodness.
Yeah. So, actually, he didn't win the cup yet. He didn't... he wasn't famous yet.
Right.
So she's my teacher, and she quit mid school year to say, hey, my husband's going sailing. I'm going with him. And we didn't understand what that meant until we saw him on TV.
Wow.
So that was very exciting for all of us. But she's wonderful people. I never met him. Of course, she was my teacher, but wonderful, wonderful woman. So let me ask you a question. This is what I'm going to ask every sailboater. What's your favorite sailboat?
Favorite sailboat? Wow.
You can have any sailboat right now.
Wow.
Money's not an option.
J-boat.
J-boat.
I want a J-boat.
Why?
because they're just absolutely gorgeous. They're 100 feet long. They're the tallest masts in the world, and they just look like a dream when they sail.
And they
now,
sail.
you got to have a crew of 25
Right.
along with you, because you just said money's no object. Right?
Money's no object.
And what is the tallest mast?
Oh, gosh, that's 100 and some feet. We just had a very tall boat here in Fort Pierce at the Director Yacht Yard. They're trying to get a lot more large super sailing yachts in. And that boat was, I think she was 103 feet long, and her mast was like, I think, 95 feet. And we did drone photography of that.
Nice.
Yeah, which we'll have out soon.
Okay.
And just incredible.
I got a mast story for you. So Captain Kenny Hake hired me for a first mate. I didn't have much going on. I wanted to do the east to west coast Florida, down the canals.
Yeah.
And there's the Indian River, Indian Point lift bridge, the train bridge, which is the lowest point. And there's a guy, something Owen or whatever. If your mast is too big, he will show up with 55-gallon drums
And tilt you.
and put them on the side of the boat, fill them with water to get you through.
Yeah.
So let's hear your mast story.
Oh, okay.
gotta
Here's
have
a
a good-
really good mast story. First trip down the Atlantic Intracoastal Waterway from Hampton, Virginia to Hollywood, Florida, aboard a Jeannot 49 with a 64-foot mast. So she's got a 64-foot stick. She's got a whip antenna on top of that. And now we're going to go down the AICW. We're not going to go offshore. We're going to stay in the ditch. Now, the tallest bridges, well, in Norfolk, you're going to get 95-foot bridges, and occasionally you get the real big ones. But most of the tallest bridges on the AICW the fixed ones are 65 feet. So we know we can get under, but we got to be careful. So we have to plan it all. We have to plan each bridge. You want to get there at least at mid-tide, if not low tide. And most times we go under, and I took a lot of video of this. You could put the camera up. As we go under the bridge, you're going to hear this clink, 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 clink as the whip antenna hits all the girders.
Like all the sport fishing
Right.
guys have
And of
in the
course-
bag coming back,
yeah.
forget.
And of course, we're heading towards this bridge, and it doesn't look like this boat's going to fit.
Right.
I mean, it never looks like it is. It doesn't even look like it is when you're on the boat, all the time. Don't care how high the bridge is. It always looks like you're going to hit it. Yeah. And people would come and would be watching us and getting ready for us to crash in. And of course, no, we wouldn't. And we had to do that about 40 times, going all the way down the ICW.
Wow.
So that was quite an adventure.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny. I said favorite boats. I just surveyed the other day an Island Pack at 35 to 350.
Great boat.
I got to tell you something. They say they're sluggish. We didn't sail it, but I got to tell you something. The quality of that boat, it was really good.
Outstanding.
Outstanding quality.
Outstanding cruising boat. We have one of a video series we have is called Sailing Quarterly, and it was produced by this gentleman that bought an Island Packard 42, outfitted it for world cruising, and then went around the world in 7 years. And then when he came back, he started making all these sailing videos. Right. He went around the world in 7 years because he won the New York lottery. That's a sideshow, right? But he bought the Island Packard, and we have got video of the Island Packard factory with Bob Johnson, the designer and builder of them, taking you through and showing how the hulls are laid up and how the stuff is done. And they're bulletproof. And I did sail an Island Packard 35 with a very good friend of mine for many years.
Yeah.
And if you put the staysail out, they're a cutter rig. You got a head sail, got a staysail.
Yep.
If you put everything out, you can go.
You can.
Yeah. And you're not going to go in 5 knots.
Right.
Let's say that.
Right.
But you get 10 knots and you can go.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'd rather have the heaviness and the quality than the light, airy boats that, are squiggly. I'd rather have that. So I want to be safe. I think you agree to that, right?
Oh, I agree. I think having a stable boat, and the other nice thing is that, on our boat, like my boat, I rarely reef. The boat is so stable, even at 25 or 30 knots, I'm not reefing. Right. And I'm stable. Yeah. I'm not like leading you over and let the fall overboard or anything. Yeah. And I'd rather have that. I'd rather be able to sail a little heavier winds and give up being able to ghost along in 2 or 3 knots. And then feel really the rush of sailing in really, really good conditions.
Yeah, one of my favorites always been Hans Christian.
Hans Christian's, 38 is a nice one. Yeah, very heavy boats, very, very heavy.
Good boats. So that's good. So Anything you want to add? We're going to get ready to take some callers on here. I see the phones are already starting to ring. So anything you want to add? Anything that comes across your mind about your channel? I want to get everything in. We could talk to you. Here comes the call. We could talk to you for hours, but let's get this call.
Okay.
Hi, and welcome to Nauti Buoys Boat Show. Who am I speaking with, and who is your question for?
I have a couple of questions. This is Gary Cassidy. I'm a sailor mostly, but really love boating of all kinds. I got a question for you, Greg. First of all, I love your show.
Thank you.
I appreciate all the information. Even for somebody like myself who's been boating a long time, I always learn something new.
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions. One is about brands in general. I know sailboat brands.
Right.
Hunter has a reputation for selling a lot of boats. They look really pretty. But do they hold up compared to, say, an older Pearson? I know they haven't been made since the 90s, but, those boats seem to be bulletproof. But what's been your experience as a surveyor?
Great question, Gary. So I will tell you this. Everything is utility, right? So the guy who really wants to go cruising and really wants to use that boat and wants to go, let's say, Block Island, down here in South, go to the Bahamas, any of these things, Montauk, I'm going to hit a little weather. Hunter, again, they're the entry boat, right? I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with them. They're built okay. They have their purpose because it's utility. So the guy who just gets into sailing, he may go buy a Hunter. He's having a great time. He learns how to sail. It's a wonderful boat. And then maybe at some point he upgrades to a more sturdy boat where he says, hey, and now I'm going to start to really venture out. So to answer your question, everything is about utility. Now, the Pearson made a great boat. We used to call them like the bulletproof, really good Chevys, right? And I'll include in that, Catalina. Catalina, same thing, right? So when I survey the Pearsons, the Catalinas, they're just really, really good Chevys. The Hunters, yes, they'll use a little cheaper hardware here and there, but some of them sail really well. So it's all about what you're going to do with that boat.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, certainly if you're going offshore, you want to buy a boat that's designed for that. But, as somebody who typically buys, I've had a few boats, used boats. How do you know if the rigging needs to be replaced? Those standing rigging. I mean, if you ask a rigger, they'll tell you, oh, you got to replace it every 10 years. I mean, I've had boats with standing rigging that's 20 years old and doesn't show any wear. I know, it's hard to tell, but how do you know?
So I'm going to tell you this right now, and this is for everybody out there. When you buy a boat, please have it surveyed. I don't care if you're paying $10,000 or $10 million. Have the boat surveyed because once you buy it, it's yours, and that expense is yours. So when it comes to rigging, they say 20 years is the limit. I'm going to tell you this. I've seen rigging after 20 years, it looks fine. I've seen some that's, frayed and falling apart. Standing rigging and then, running rigging is all chafed. So here's the thing. I survey the boats and I look at the rigging from deck. I'm not getting in a bosun chair. I'm not going up the mast. I'm not doing any of that. You're going to have to hire a rigger. So your survey should include your surveyor and then your rigging surveyor. All right. That's the only way to really know. Why do I say that? Well, spend the couple of $1,000s up front rather than spending $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 later. So, do your due diligence and have that rigger inspect that rig, and at least you know. At least you know where you're in. Sal, you got a comment?
Hey, I totally agree. You really need to have a rigging survey and buy a rigger that will go up the mast and will take a look at all your swages and all of that. And just to give you, for example, I re-rigged my boat over 20 years ago. It's a 1980 when I bought it in 2001, the first 20-year refit. I've gone through another 20-year refit. In the running rigging, you can pretty much, all the rope, the line, you're going to know that's not good to the touch anymore. Once every 10 years, just get rid of it and put new stuff on. The wire is a bit different. Depends where you sail. Are you saltwater sailing? Are you freshwater sailing? Are you going to go across the Atlantic, or are you just going to kind of mess around? But getting a qualified rigger is to go aloft and look at all your stuff, and on the deck too, all the swages, and they will put dye on it. They'll use a magnifying glass. I just had that done to my boat, and I had a rigging survey, and a rigger went up top and found a crack, very hairline crack in a swage on one of the main shrouds. So we just got rid of them and just replaced them. Right. No thing. Just no doubt about it.
So just to reiterate, what does something like that cost?
Normally, a rigging survey, it hasn't really changed that much. It's about $250.
That's it?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
That's not doing the work. That's
right.
Somebody going up the mast, looking at all your fittings, looking at all your wire, and on the deck, looking where the wire goes into your chain plates, inspecting all of that. And then they'll tell you what they feel that you need. And if you've never done it yourself, I bought another plug-in. We got a great series. Brian Toss is the gold standard of rigging surveyors. He's passed away, but luckily for us, he made a series of rigging videos.
Awesome.
And he's excellent.
How could you tell if somebody used inferior cable, the wrong stainless or something? Can a rigger tell actually that they use poor quality stainless?
Yes, they can.
Because, you got boats from the 60s and the stainless and the rails and everything still shine. You got a boat 3 years old and it's pitted. So, the quality of the stainless is...
Well, that's why you really want somebody that knows.
And you want to buy a quality boat.
And you want to buy quality, yeah. And if you got to replace rigging, you want to replace it with the right stuff. Now, you can even go to synthetic these days.
Right.
That's the new thing that's coming.
Yeah.
But it kind of depends on the
In
boat.
the sun?
Oh, yeah.
And cost.
And the cost and all of that. But you got to get somebody you trust, a rigger you trust, because quite literally your life depends on it.
Hey, Gary, did that answer your question?
Yeah, are those videos available on your website, Sal? Because I've heard about your website. I haven't really had a chance to look at it much. But
yeah,
I gather even for somebody like me that's been a long time, there's still a lot of valuable information there.
Oh yeah, Brian. We just got the Brian Toss series, and we've put two up, inspecting your rig and tuning your rig. And the guy is just incredible. He's a great on-camera person, too. You'll enjoy listening to him. And he's a very, very good teacher. And then we've got about 4 more of his videos that we're now regenerating because they were done 20, 30 years ago, and we're kind of remastering them and making them nice. And those will be coming up also.
Good. All right, Gary, we got to go. We got another caller, but thank you so much. Please listen, follow, and subscribe, and we appreciate you.
Will do. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, Gary.
I got a...
Yeah, we got a call coming in. Let me answer this. Hey, welcome to Nauti Buoys Boat Show. Who am I speaking with, and who's your question for?
This is Walter.
Hey, Walter.
And I'm looking to speak with, I guess, Glenn.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
God.
What's up
Glenn.
today, Walter?
Hey, Glenn. So listen, I got a question. I have a dinghy with a small outboard. And I'm curious, and it's fairly new. It's the first season I'm going to have it, but I'm thinking ahead for the winter. When I lay the boat up and I got to, take the motor off, I guess put it in my garage, what do I got to do? Do I have to fog out the motor? What do I got to do to prep this thing so it's good for the next season?
Well, you got to grease all the fittings, push out the water, change the gear oil, new fittings, new washers. And then what you're going to do is, excuse
Wait,
me.
it's a 4-stroke?
It's a 4-stroke if it's new, yes.
And it's fuel injected, right, Walt?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Do I got to fog it or do something
No,
like that?
you don't fog it. You're going to get a separate tank with a 50-to-1 mix. You could go to Home Depot and just buy the pre-mix because it doesn't have alcohol in the fuel because you don't want to have alcohol in that when it sits for the winter. So you're going to buy the 50-to-1 mix. You're going to throw some stable in there and then run it on that. But do not run it dry because you'll burn out the electric fuel pump. So you just run it for a while, just shut it off and leave it.
Nice. Okay.
And don't turn it upside
great.
down.
Did that answer your question?
Fantastic. It does. I appreciate it. Thanks, Glenn.
Hey,
Okay.
thanks, Walter. Thanks for calling in. We really appreciate you.
I love the show. Thanks so much.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Oh, good advice.
So the Hunter guy?
Yeah.
So I actually have a 30 Allura Classic, the early ones, which was made by Hunter. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have a
good
friend
boat,
with a 75 Hunter. He doesn't even look like a Hunter.
All right, I got a call
Incredible.
coming in. Hi, welcome to Nauti Buoys Boat Show. Who am I speaking with, and who's your question for?
Hi. A question for Tori. This is Jeffrey Farrell.
Who's Tori?
That's my other nickname.
Oh, you have a nickname.
Salvatore.
Salvia.
Oh, Salvatore. Yeah, I get it. You're not in the witness protection program.
Oh, we don't talk about that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Question. I understand. I'm seeing at least one, but some of the original kind of first generation Voyagers took those old movie cameras with them. I think that the Hiscocks did that, and some others. Are those available on the Sailing Channel?
Oh, yes, they are. And God bless them. That's called 16 millimeter film.
Yes.
And 16 millimeter is equal to about 2.5K in today's video speak, which means that anybody that you get 16 millimeter, you've got gold. So, yes, the Hiscocks, Eric and Susan, they're British, early around the world voyagers. And in 1959, on I think their third circumnavigation, they made a deal with the BBC to shoot a film. So the BBC gave them a wind-up 16 millimeter camera, I think it was a Bolex, and 3,000 feet of color film. And off they went for 3 years. And they shot meticulously their entire voyage. We were able to find a surviving print of that documentary, and we had it remastered, professionally scanned to HD. And yes,
Great.
it's available on the Sailing Channel, and it's a world that doesn't exist anymore that you will get to see.
Nice. Good. Did that answer your question?
Hey, that sounds great. I'm gonna go fishing
Okay,
in the
good.
sailingchannel.com.
Good. Thanks so much for your question. And please follow, subscribe, and like the channel. I really appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Good. Really good advice. You got a wealth of people, a wealth of knowledge just on your channel. Oh boy, this thing doesn't stop. It lights up like crazy. Okay, let me answer this one. Hi, welcome to Nauti Buoys Boat Show. Who am I speaking with, and who's your question for?
Yeah, hey, my name is Joe, and my question is for Tori.
You're popular.
That was pre witness protection.
Yeah, he's pre-witness protection. Okay. It's an inside joke.
Sailboaters were held in a low regard
It's an
years
inside
ago.
joke.
It wasn't like in prison.
Okay. We'll talk about his prison term later. Go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, all right. So it's kind of two questions. So do you have both cruising destination videos and also how to sail videos?
Yes, yeah, we have both. We call them adventure cruising destinations, and
Okay.
just about anywhere in the world, and a whole bunch of how-tos, and then some that are a combination, like the Lynn and Larry Pardee series, especially their offshore series. They mixed their cruising adventures with how they did it, how they prepared, what they did when they were underway. So you can find ones that are just primarily how to sail, also how to maintain your boat. How to do fiberglass work, for example.
Okay.
Or you can go to the destination side.
Got it. Okay, well, thanks very much.
Hey, thank you for the question. And please, again, like, follow, subscribe. And thank you for watching us
You
and
got it.
listening to us.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Same here. Okay. Sure.
Bye.
Have a good one.
You too. Well, listen, that's we're getting towards the end of our show. We can't take any more callers, but I'd like to. We always do at the end of our show tips, right? We do the tip of the week.
Tip.
So, oh no, we can't take any more callers. But so we'll do the tip of the week. My tip is get your boat surveyed, and also go to the Sailing Channel.tv. Learn, watch all the videos. If you have any questions, email. Maybe you haven't picked out a boat yet. You need some advice. you're selling a boat, you're buying a boat. Just use all the resources you have. You want to call on the show and ask questions. You want to call us and say, hey, I'm looking to buy a boat. Hey, I'm looking to upgrade. Anything. Use the resources. Don't make that mistake. Okay? So that's my tip.
I had a call today from an old customer, and he had batteries dead. Mm-hmm. So if you have dead batteries and you're running the battery charger, be careful. Batteries explode. If you smell acid, shut everything down. If you go down, touch the batteries. If they're hot, get out of the bilge, shut everything down, and then go from there. Batteries explode. Guy almost killed himself.
You know, we were having such a good time until Captain Happy had to come up with the exploding batteries. But no, that's a good tip. That's a good tip.
I've got a good tip.
Yep, go.
Okay, so you are thinking about casting off those dock lines, heading south or wherever you're going to go for maybe some extended voyaging. Take a look at the cruising, different cruising clubs that are out there, like Seven Seas Cruising Association. I actually belong to Seven Seas Cruising Association. I'm actually a station host for the association in Fort Pierce. And these associations are great. They've got people that have been cruising all over the world with tons of knowledge that you can get on their forums and ask them questions and get a lot of advice. And if you are going places, most of the places around the world will have a station host. So if you're going to be showing up somewhere, you can get a touch of the station host. They'll help you with customs, help you clearing in, help you getting supplies, etc. So yes, if you're going to be doing some serious cruising, think about a cruising association.
Good. Okay, so we're just about out of time. I'd love to thank our guest, Sal. Again, the sailingchannel.tv. Check it out. I was looking at it. It's a wealth of information. I mean, I'm a surveyor. I survey sailboats for 28 years. All boats I survey, but sailboats too. And I'm learning. So please go to his channel. Check it out. It's awesome. Also, for marine survey information, I'm here in Southeast Florida. You can definitely hire me to survey your boat. Call me at 772-773-2600 or go to our website at pinnaclemarinegroup.com. As always, I would like to thank our producer, Micah Murley, and our production assistant, Samantha. Please hit that subscribe, follow, or like button. And please tune in next Thursday and every Thursday for the Nauti Buoys Boat Show. Every week, we will have exciting guests, informative news, and may you have fair winds, following seas, and tight lines. God bless you, everybody.
See you sooner or later. You can smack me for that.
Sail safe.
Take care, guys.